Greetings from the Eccentric Man. Tonight, some eagle has landed. Well, a bit of Lion Rampant, but in the ancient period. The Eccentric Man YouTube channel is kindly sponsored by Lost Art Games in Stevenage. You can find them online and at 29 Marketplace, Stevenage. Pop in and say hello. John and I have been thinking about ancients, and we had considered Hail Caesar and painting up some armies for it. But after doing our English Civil War project, we thought, God, we can't be dealing with painting all those figures. And I did have some ancients that I'd already painted up for Infamy. But John hasn't played that game, and he doesn't have the rulebook. But we do have Lion Rampant. So John, very busily, has painted himself up an ancient British force with speed paints, and he does paint with speed. So this evening's battle is a Lion Rampant game, but using Imperial Rome, early Imperial Rome, against ancient Britons. And John has worked out the different armies, and I'll go through them and let you know what sort of tinkering he's done with it. John's tried to give a nice flavour to the armies, looking at the way they fought and how they operated. So with the ancient British, his first unit is a unit of naked fanatics, 6 points. They have flexible, wild charge, counter charge foot or missile, and fast, and they have fearsome. So flexible means that they don't suffer any movement penalty in rough ground. Wild charge is a bit of a hindrance. They have to test to see whether they charge if they are in charge range. If they pass, they charge. If they don't, they can only move in that activation. They have counter charge, so if they're charged, they can meet the opponents and get that attack value. Counter charge, but only foot or missile troops. They're fast, so they move at 8 inches, and they're fearsome, which means if I have to take a courage test, it's at +1. So they have a little bit of fearsomeness to them. Must be their nakedness. He's then got Warband, which is flexible, wild charge, counter charge, foot or missile, and fast. They're 4 points. He's then got another 2 units of Warband, exactly the same. He's then got a little unit of British slingers, 6 figures, and we've gone for the alternative rules, which they only get 6 dice. But they have skirmish, evade, hard to target, and fast. He's then rounding it off with 2 chariots, which have skirmish, evade, and javelins. So trying to get that flavour of them riding up, throwing the javelins, and riding away again. Next up, the Romans. We're looking at 30 points, much the same as the ancient British, but that gives me 6 units. I've got 2 units of legionaries. We've tried to sort of give them the flavour of legionaries, and they get shield wall. They've got a move of 3 inches once in shield wall. They've got a pilum, which gives them a shooting attack if they're charged, and that's hitting on 6s. So I've got 2 units of those, 12 figures in each, and they have sort of courage 4 and armour 4. That's sort of the maximum armour that we've gone down the route of. I've then got 2 units of auxilia, and they're classed as medium infantry. The legionary is heavy. The auxilia have flexible and fleet fast, not fleet-footed. That was the old rules. It's fast, so they move at 8. They've then got spears, as they're just medium infantry. Next up, a unit of 12 archers, and they've 4 points, and they shoot at 18 inches, just as normal sort of archers are. And then I've got a unit of medium cavalry to finish it off at 4 points, and they have special rule counter charge, maximum move 10 inches, armour 3. So that gave me a total of 30 points, and it looked quite good once we got them out onto the table. I think we've just done the setup. So what we have over on the far side is John's ancient Britons. It's got some chariots, a couple of warbands, 4 warbands of various flavour, 2 units of 2 chariots, and a unit of slingers. For me, On this side, I've got the cavalry, some bow, auxiliaries, legionaries in the centre,
And that was when you needed it, wasn't it?
and some more auxiliaries on the left. So I've got first turn, so I'm going to move everything up. A quick turn, moved up the auxiliaries, the legionaries, they will move forward. The other auxiliaries are closing in on the duck pond. The bowmen have moved forward, but the cavalry failed their activation. On John's side, his slingers have moved up. Light chariots are moving into the centre. His light chariots there are moving up to the centre, but he had 3 warbands fail their activations. Only the one there that's ahead of the others passed. So, getting a bit broken up already. So hopefully, when it's my turn, I'll keep them all in a nice line. Just gonna get the cavalry over on that side, moving up as well. Well, turn 2, and what a strange one that was. I started by moving the cavalry up on the right flank. Then I failed the activation for the bowmen, failed the activation for the auxiliaries here, used the general's reroll, failed it, failed with this one, failed with this one, failed with this one. John failed with everything, absolutely everything. Why did it fail? Right, in normal, well not normal, but in the main rules for the Lion Rampant, if you fail a leadership test for a unit or activation test, they turn heads. But we use alternative, so the next unit to test gets +1 to their test value, and so forth. So each time you fail, it gets 1 pip more. So how that means is that sometimes, by failing 2 or 3, you are now up to +3 on their movement or their activation score, whatever they need. So it does cause a bit of grief. So in that turn, turn 2 was just us standing, watching each other. So we'll see if the Romans can do something a little bit better this next turn. Well, a slightly better turn, as we can see. We've moved the cavalry up. Bowmen stopped, they didn't want to go, but the auxiliaries have waded into the pond, playing with the ducks. The legionaries have moved up, and the auxiliaries stayed where they were. John has been very bold with his chariots. They're obviously skirmishing type, shooting type chariots, so they've come up quite close. But John wanted to skirmish with his slingers against my medium cavalry, and they failed their skirmish move, and then that sort of gave everything else a snowball effect, or perhaps not even a snowball effect, a snail effect. So they failed to move again this turn. So they're not very happy, these ancient Britons. I think they need a bit more alcohol to get them going. I've never seen so many low dice rolls by John in a game. But over on our side, the auxiliaries have moved up. All the legionaries have moved up. The auxiliaries on this side have moved up out of the pond. The bowmen failed to shoot at the chariots, which was a bit of a shame, really. And I've now interposed the auxiliaries in their way, so that's a bit of an annoyance. John did get to move with, he did try to skirm. No, he did try to shoot. Tried to shoot with both of the chariot units, but failed their activation tests. The slingers, needing an outrageously high number to activate, did, and managed to kill one of my cavalrymen. We're using alternative rules for the slingers. Rather than having 12 shots for 6 men, they now have 6 shots. It's one of the amendments that Dan Massey has put in place. But they did manage to kill a cavalryman, and I passed my courage test. And because of the high numbers required for everything else, there is a sense of deja vu in the British lines, and they've stood still. So we should now, hopefully, get a few charges off. And with John's throwing being absolutely atrocious, I've got high hopes for hitting both of the chariots with my troops. But we'll see how that works. Well, I think we'll call that a good turn for the Romans. We started over here with the duffing up of the chariot. John failed his first evade move, and I got the legionaries in, but we only caused one casualty each, and because of that the attacker retreats 3 inches, so they moved 3 inches back, which allowed me to charge with my auxiliaries, and John did successfully evade that time. Over on the far side, my cavalry charged the slingers, and the slingers failed their evade, so they caught them, and I threw enough dice to wipe them out. Bowman over here failed to move forward. Over on this side, moving around, the auxiliaries failed to charge the chariots. The legionnaires got a successful activation to charge, and John failed his evade. So we've hit them, and I caused 2 casualties, John caused 1, so he's about to retreat battered. So that wasn't so bad. I passed my test. So I reckon a good turn for the Romans there. Bit better for John this way around. He started not so well when the chariot failed its rally test, and that took it down to a second battered, so it loses an extra figure casualty. So as the chariots is a unit of 6, 3 wounds causes 1 to go. But then John did move his warriors up, and these have sped forward to the edge of the farmstead. The chariots here have skirmished successfully and caused 1 casualty on my auxiliaries, but I passed my test, and the other unit of warband has also moved towards my cavalry. So yeah, a little bit better for John. So let's go into the Romans' turn and see if we can get any more damage on John's ancient British. Oh, end of the Roman turn, and the boot's on the other foot. So we managed to move the legionaries into the to the right there. I was hoping to move the auxiliaries up to fill that gap next to them between the wall and the legionaries, but the auxiliaries failed the activation. I can't remember what happened with these ones, John.
Which ones?
The blue ones. Well, we've just not done anything with them. Didn't do anything with them.
Trying to move the red ones up.
Yeah, so we've moved the legionaries up a little bit. The cavalry on the far side, I was hoping we're going to charge the warband, but failed the activation. And the bowmen over here also failed that activation. They've only activated once in the whole game, so they're a little bit slow of foot. So on to the ancient British turn now, and we'll see what John can do this turn, because I think he can start to turn.
Murdered all these peasants.
Oh yeah. As the barbarians charged through, they murdered all the Roman peasants, which was a bit sad. However, they have bounced off the legionaries, but they're not battered. They just had to retreat. So not too bad a position there. On this side, John is advancing up with his naked men and his other warband. So I really need to try and get these ones up in support of the legionaries. Over on this side, yeah, the chariots fired, killed 2 of the auxiliary, but I did pass my courage test, so that was okay. On the far side, it was a bit harsh with his warband charging into the cavalry. I failed my counter charge, so therefore John killed 3 of mine, and I managed to kill 2 of his. Fortunately, I passed with my courage test with a high roll, and John failed his courage test with a lowish roll, which made him then retreat and battered. So mixed fortunes on that side, but I don't think I'll be charging back in with the cavalry.
Roll more than one hit, you'll score a critical. No.
Probably not. So we'll move into the British, into the Romans next turn. I think we'll try and sort of get our lines solidified. End of the Roman turn, and I've managed to get the auxiliaries up into the gap. I've put the legionaries into shield wall. Charged the Roman legion with the boss man into the warband, and John countercharged, and he has come off worse. He's got 3 men left, battered, but I didn't do fare too well either. I lost another 2, so I'm down to a unit of 2, 3, 7. So I'm not half strength yet, but I am battered and have lost 5. So on dice rolls, things are not looking good. I think this may be the last turn, because when we come round to rally, we are going to be going backwards, I think, a lot. My cavalrymen over here charged. No, he didn't. They can't remember what happened to them. Oh yeah, no, I did charge, didn't I? I charged over there, and I lost 1 man. But John went back battered again, so I'm also battered on that side. Bowman over here failed their activation again. They haven't moved at all, and well, they moved once. But that's it. But over here I charged the chariots. Chariots failed their evade, and we had a bit of a smash. But I've failed my courage test, so I'm now battered. And John failed his courage test, and he's now battered. But he's nearly lost. He's nearly lost a chariot on that side. So it's going to be John's turn, and he's got a few units to do wild charges on, and some units to rally.
And I've used that before.
Don't believe it.
Well, John has attacked with the wild willy men, and didn't do very well. He rolled double 1 for his courage test. It was 2 each, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2 each of casualties. So the legionaries have passed their courage test, but the willy men didn't, and they're going to go back 3.5 inches, 3 inches.
Well, no, because double 1 is 0, so 0 means that they go bye-bye.
Did they?
Yeah,
Did I go straight away?
I believe so.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's why I said that's game over.
Oh, right, that's why game over is. So, yeah, the battered unit, they failed their test and disappeared. The other battered unit on the other side, they've gone back, lost another man. Chariot lost another man and has gone back, battered. That far chariot did actually pass its rally tests and may come back into battle, but I think John has gone and the ancient Britons have disappeared off the battlefield. So a win to the Romans this time around. But an interesting game, because we're playing Lion Rampant with ancients, and we've tinkered with some of the settings of the troops to give them a flavour of what they should be. And we just try to get a feel for how it works. I think it works quite well, doesn't it?
Well, I enjoyed the game, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game and it worked.
Yeah, and John enjoyed the game and he even lost, so there's a bonus there.
You know?
But that worked quite well. Yeah. Our second experiment using Lion Rampant for ancient battles, we did a bigger game the other day, and I may well put that up at a later stage. But I thought you might find this quite interesting. I've got another ancient army, which is the ancient Germans. So I might look at filling those out a little bit to get them to a 30-point army as well. I know that John was very pleased with how the armies worked, and we had a great little game. And I think we shall be playing this again quite soon. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's given you some food for thought if you've got some armies which aren't doing anything, that you could actually think about repurposing them for a similar rule set. But have a look in your Wargaming cupboard, because I'm sure you've got a few armies hidden away, just gathering a bit of dust, waiting for that rule set. just a little bit of a thought to have a good game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Any comments, please put them below. And subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification button. And until the next video, take care.